Hi, good afternoon. We appreciate it. You know, it's a kind of short notice that we get you guys all assembled. I realize just how busy of a news day it is and just how busy your folks are. Needless to say, our people have been pretty busy themselves, and Sergeant Sharp, who a lot of you know, is from our robbery unit, is going to talk about a lot of that work that his folks, our folks, have been involved with over last couple of days. He's going to reference a couple of arrests, notable arrests, and I was talking with him on the phone, and at the risk of kissing and telling a little bit, we had a really in-depth conversation, Sergeant Sharp and I. I will say that this is a guy who's been here for close to 20 years, right? Seen a lot in this department, done a lot in this department, has seen some tremendous work that's been done on behalf of this community, and he made mention of the fact we were on the telephone that over the last couple of days, one case in particular is just outstanding work that he's seen, probably some of the best work that he's seen since he's been part of the robbery unit for the last 7 years. And I don't want to steal too much of his thunder, but I really would hope that everyone would just pay a little bit of attention, because the work is just nothing short of incredible that the folks are doing on behalf of this community. He's also going to remind the community about some cases that we need some help on. I know that pictures have gone out to respective outlets over the last week or so. He's going to encourage a lot of members of the media, pardon me, we'll let that, wants to encourage folks in the media to keep those stories on the front burner, continue to push those photos out there in hopes that someone will pass some information along to our people and allow our people to go ahead and run down some of those leads. When he's through, we'll do our best to get some questions answered. So without further delay, Sergeant Brian Sharp.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. Again, I just want to talk about some work that was done this week. I know there's been some talk about the number of commercial business robberies that have occurred this week. But again, I just want to illustrate the work that our robbery detectives have done, and in cooperation with patrol officers. Early this week, we had a period of 24 hours where we had numerous business robberies. Obviously, we took a look at those as quickly as we could and followed up with all the leads we could. We put out pictures of suspects, pictures of suspect vehicles that we were aware of, and we pushed it out real hard to patrol. Last night, patrol officers came across one of these vehicles, and they made a traffic stop. They detained the driver, called robbery detectives and myself, and relayed the information to us, at which time we went over some things. We determined that the driver was not the actual suspect and who we were looking for, but the vehicle was certainly the vehicle we were looking for. Well, moments later, they called me back to tell me that the person driving's brother was in the area, and he matched the suspect's description. I asked them if they wouldn't mind speaking with him, getting his name, which they did, which later we found out he lied about his name due to an outstanding warrant he had. But once they spoke to him, they immediately realized that he matched the height, the physical description, and certainly the surveillance photos of the suspect, and he was wearing the same exact sneakers that the suspect was wearing at the time of the robberies. So they subsequently arrested him, brought him to the station. We've since charged him with 2 of the robberies from the other night that he did that were clearly connected to him. In another case, we have made another arrest on an individual with the help from our lab. We had, I'll just tell you, a fingerprint hit on an individual at the robbery scene. And we made an arrest on that one, which he was tied to 2 of the cases from the other night. So, the patrol, it was Steel Creek CRU unit. They did it was just incredible police work. I told them last night, I said, wow, this is some of the best police work I've seen in a while. They made it very clear to me that their objective that night to go out was to find this vehicle. And I'll just tell you, it was a bright colored purple vehicle. So it really stood out, which certainly helped the finding of it, but it also helps when you put stuff like that out and communicate with the community or the police officers on the street, it really helps us work through things. I mean, communication's the key for everybody. So with that, I'll answer any questions you have. Or
what night in question are we talking about?
These happened overnight Monday night into Tuesday morning.
And how many different robberies are we talking about as far as being connected possibly?
Out of the, I think it was 8 that occurred that night into that morning, there were 2 sets connected, 2 and 2, but they were not connected to each other. Everything else appears to be at this time separate. But you know, it's sometimes hard to differentiate that when people come in wearing masks, wearing gloves, things like that. It's very difficult to differentiate what's connected to what. So,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, ma'am.
Can you help me out? The guy that Steel Creek officers got, what's his name and what 2 cases?
We're going to put that out as soon as we're finished here. They have it all set to go.
Colin, you should get a press briefing when we're done here on that case, not only the Steel Creek case, but the other case. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the last name of the individual in the Steel Creek case, the suspect was Hollums, H-A-L-L-U-M-S. But you'll get that, you'll get a release in just a little bit.
Brandon Hollums, that is correct. And it was an Express Mart in Steel Creek, a Nations Ford, and a 7-Eleven on Brookshire in Freedom Division.
And the other person that was taken into custody, that's for the quick trips?
That was for the 2 quick trips, that's correct, for 2 quick trips.
You said there were 8 in the Tuesday, Monday night into Tuesday morning, and then there were some additional ones, Tuesday or Wednesday night?
There were some additional ones Wednesday night, or Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, that's correct. Which again, they don't appear to be linked. This doesn't appear to be any kind of, group of people out robbing. It just honestly appears to be a couple individuals who went out and just unfortunately did some bad things.
And how many people are arrested at this point? Is it
2 for 4 of the cases.
So is it just kind of a coincidence that there were that many, that there were different individuals who were trying to, who decided to do this crime on the same night?
That, unfortunately, that appears to be what it is. Nothing more than a coincidence that more than one person went out on this particular night, and committed some robberies.
How uncommon is something like that? I mean, I know that convenience store robberies happen, but obviously, when you see that large number in one night, and then they're not even all related, how uncommon?
It honestly, in one night, it's fairly uncommon. In fact, it's probably really uncommon. To get, that many in one night is certainly uncommon, but we don't, 1 robbery, 8 robberies, we take it with the same degree of seriousness. These are violent crimes, and, one step away from getting a lot worse. So we take it serious whether it's 1 or 8.
And no one was injured, correct? So, I mean, you talk about them being violent crimes. Obviously, these are the type of crimes that could potentially escalate. What's your feeling to know that, in spite of so many of these happening, that there was no one who was seriously hurt?
Well, I mean, obviously, that's great news. That's what we always hope for. We always hope, that the public doesn't get hurt or anybody gets hurt for that matter in these cases. We always want a happy ending, regardless if it's the victim, the suspect. It doesn't matter. We just want a happy ending and everybody to be as safe as we can make it.
Sarge, can you talk a little bit about the vulnerabilities of convenience stores? And in light of what happened Monday night into Tuesday, was there anything, did you guys do any outreach to convenience stores, gas stations, et cetera?
We always do, honestly, with convenience stores, fast food restaurants, grocery stores. In fact, we just had a meeting with the 7-Eleven Corporation. We had every single manager in the entire city in one place in Rock Hill, South Carolina, several weeks ago, and we went and spoke to them about, things they can do to better their security, better robbery prevention things for their stores. And in fact, we had their district manager sent me an email right after they were robbed by the next morning with pictures of the suspect, because he's able to access it right from wherever he is. He doesn't even have to go to the store. We have to go to the store, get the videos. He was able to send me pictures right away. And that one particular case he sent me, and I'd have to go back and look, is related to a South Carolina case. This guy has robbed a store in South Carolina, 7-Eleven in South Carolina too. Obviously that was his, concern that he's robbed more than one 7-Eleven. So but I don't know anything about the South Carolina case, and honestly, we're following up on some leads in ours, but we don't have a whole lot yet.
Can you talk about the vulnerability of I guess it's like the all-night license, is that it?
Well, you know, I mean, being open at night, you know, it is what it is, but a lot of them take very, very strong security measures. They do, and you know, the things we would recommend to them would be obviously proper lighting, cameras, don't keep a lot of cash on hand, be very aware of your surroundings, you know, and we teach them these things, and we talk to them about these things, and I think, you know, a lot of them do a nice job. I just, you know, unfortunately, I'd love to be able to stop everybody. I would. I'd love to be able to stop everybody from robbing a store, robbing somebody, but it's just not where we're at.
What kind of differentiates this string of robberies compared to anything else? I mean, they happen all the time, and there's not always a push for, I guess, media help. What is different about these, if there's anything different?
Well, you know, there's nothing different, honestly, and we just, you know, we always try to ask for the media when we have what would we believe would be worthy of putting out. I mean, putting out an image of a black blob that we got in a video, which is sometimes what we get. It's just a dark. I mean, honestly, you couldn't tell race, sex, height, weight, anything. Some of the videos, unfortunately, you know, is really useless to put that out. But when we have good information, we want to put it out. I mean, communication is the key, not only with our police officers, but with our community.
Are there any other suspects that have been identified, or are you still in the process of identifying the suspects in those other cases?
We haven't identified anybody, but we are following up on a lot of leads and certainly have some potential information.
How many more are you looking for? 4 or 5 more people?
I would 3 to 4 more.
Okay, we're going to let the sergeants get back to work. Officer Trively or someone from the Public Affairs Office will go ahead and get those releases out to you in the short order. And we appreciate everybody coming out.
And names will be in
Sarge, can you give me your name?
Yes.
Brian, B-R-I-A-N, Scharf, S-C-H-A-R-F.
I always forget to see.
Everybody
This is
does.
Sergeant with Rob.
Everybody does.
Will there be anything that has the total number of correctional officers in the last 3 days? Because I know that you said there was 8, no,